Well, for one thing, Krishna West is not a new thing. You know, we had this already a couple of times in the movement, Krishna West attempts. The first attempt was already done by Kirtananda, who gave up wearing robes and shaved head, sikha, etc. And Prabhupada was very upset about it. In fact, I have a letter, I read it to you, to Damodar Prabhu, my dear Damodar, that is back in 67, as early as 67. Dear Damodar, please accept my blessings, etc. I'm very sorry to hear that Kirtananda is advising you to give up robes and flags, means sikha. Please stop this nescience, this darkness, as I never instructed Kirtananda to act like that. I'm not at all satisfied with his actions of Kirtananda. Kirtananda has no right to instruct you in this way without consulting me. People are being attracted to the chanting of Hare Krishna and not to Kirtananda's ideas. Kirtananda suggests to me that when he was here that the Americans do not like robes and flags, sikha. I therefore advise him to drop a few days in London to test his theory. So in other words, Prabhupada didn't want him to change his ISKCON. He said, if you want to do something, test it out, let me see what happens. You know, he wanted to say, if you want to do something else, do it, go ahead, but not in my movement. Very simple. So, but he has gone directly to New York and now causing these disturbances without consulting him, telling these young devotees to give up these dresses, etc. I have not sanctioned these methods. Now it comes. In my opinion, clean-shaven brahmacharis and grihastas in saffron robes look like angels from Vaikuntha. Translation of prayers into English is good, and if somebody dresses like a nice American without robes, I have no objections. But every one of my disciples must have flag, sikha and marks of tilak on his forehead. This is essential. Nobody should do anything without my sanction. I am very sorry to hear that Kirtananda, without doing anything practical, changes his ideas constantly. He was the first in our society to take robes and cleanly shaven, sikha, etc. Now he's changing his position. You have asked me to tell you whether you are right on carrying on one by the following. You asked me whether you are right on carrying one by the followers of the foolish advice of Kirtananda and company, and I say straight that Kirtananda is wrong and you are right. And when you say that the movement will come to nothing, and I will say that the movement has come to nothing if I'm not satisfied by your actions. So that's just one letter among many letters that Prabhupada, I had another one, unfortunately I can't find it right now, but Prabhupada said, our movement is known for that. What people do outside, and they come to the temple, nobody asks them to wear robes. If they want to do that when they come to the temple, that's fine. But Prabhupada was adamant that brahmacharis and sannyasis, and also those who represent ISKCON, and they must wear proper devotional attire. And the letter, what I said, if they represent ISKCON, when we had the court case in New York, Adhikesha Maharaj told Prabhupada that it's better I go in karmically. Prabhupada, no, you're representing ISKCON, you must wear dhoti and tilak. Now if he wouldn't have gone down this road, we wouldn't have millions of Indians supporting us today. When they come to the temple, Indians, they see he is a temple and he is a pujari and people are very good. This is their culture. That's why we have many Indians following us. If you change this, you lose them all. And that's an expensive mistake for ISKCON. You know, you lose them all. So we follow what Prabhupada said, and this is not the only example. We have then the next movement was the movement of Butler, Siddhāswarupa. And he started what we know as the Haribol movement in Hawaii. They gave up the dress, and Prabhupada was not interfering, but at one stage he pulled up one of their sannyasis And there's a letter, a discussion with Prabhupada in this regard. It is from the book My Glorious Master Bhojam Prabhu on page 227. Prabhupada is speaking to one of the two sannyasis who went off the track in Hawaii, not wearing devotional clothes anymore, and didn't ask their disciples to do the same. They all walk around in kami clothes. Prabhupada said, why you dress is not as a sannyasi? Śrī Kṛṣṇa, my robes make people uncomfortable. Prabhupada. They see you as different and can't relate. They won't relax enough to listen when I wear robes. Prabhupada, but sannyasi, you must dress in saffron robes and shaven head. Śrī Kṛṣṇa are following all the regulative principles, but the dress is external and superficial. Why should we let it hamper the preaching? Prabhupada said, if the dress is superficial, why should you change your dress to please people who are so serious about superficial things? He said, you understand my point? Superficial people become controlled by superficiality and by external things. Why do you dress to please superficial people? You should dress to please Krishna. Śrī Kṛṣṇa. So you would like me to wear saffron and shaved up? Prabhupada said, yes. And I want you to promise this. Only wear saffron and keep your head shaved. This is a sannyas dress. You should promise. And then Śrī Kṛṣṇa said, yes, Prabhupada, I promise. But of course he didn't. You know, I mean, come on. And that movement, I met these people on every rainbow gathering, and they're there in their kami dress, and they look like hippies, long hair, and they're chanting Hari Bol, but I've not seen, and I was in charge for Hawaii for some time, even I was GBC for some, and I've interfaced with them. I've not seen them, to present one person who's actually sincerely practicing Krishna consciousness. I've not seen it. They chant 1 round, 2 rounds, 4 rounds. They're vegetarians, basically speaking. That's there. The vegetarians, and they chant Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, and no tilak, and I've not seen that this is a substantial contribution to the actual Krishna conscious movement, and actually pulling sincere people to the movement. You want sincere people. Prabhupada was never interested in pleasing the masses. In fact, he was not interested in being popular. He said, we don't want to be popular, we want to please Krishna. There's an example. When Prabhupada went under a bridge in Boston, it said unalloyed steel, and Prabhupada looked at it and said, yes, unalloyed. He said, we want to, let me pull it up here exactly what he said. Yes. As they walked together under the steel bridge, Prabhupada pointed upward with his walking cane. He said, look, a sign under the bridge says unalloyed steel. They have unalloyed steel and we have unalloyed devotional service. Then Pradyumna said, but Prabhupada, what if people don't want to hear our message? What then? Prabhupada said, the people might not understand our message, but Krishna will be pleased. And that is our mission. They thought that Jesus Christ's mission was stopped, they killed him, but his mission was attained. He preached 3 years only, but so many followers. He pleased Krishna. In other words, the point is, if you want to be successful in preaching, you need Krishna Shakti. The Shakti, and that comes from Krishna. You need Krishna Shakti to preach. If you don't have Krishna Shakti, you can go naked and preach. You get some nudist club to follow you. You've all kinds of people you may get by different dresses, but you don't get people who are interested in Krishna. When I joined myself, I got the Ishopanishad on the back of the, I've never seen the Hare Krishnas really. I saw a picture with 2 devotees clapping hands. It says the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, etc. And they say, and we follow the 4 regulative principles. When I read the principles, I thought, that's it. That's the movement I want. I was not disturbed by them running around in dhotis. It was not what really convinced me that I said, that is a serious movement. And therefore I joined this movement. And we want to have people who are serious about spiritual life. So then Prabhupada says, even if people don't listen, he said, we must not be disappointed if no one is hearing Krishna consciousness. We will say to the moon and stars and to all directions, we will cry in the wilderness, because Krishna is everywhere. We want to have a certificate from Krishna that this man has done something for me, not popularity. If a pack of asses says, you're very good, then what is the use of that? He said, we have to please Krishna with senses, with purified senses. So that's his answer. Prabhupada was never interested in popularity. He said, even one moon is better than millions of stars. He says, and I'll give you another one. What is the value of the opinion when the people are like dogs and asses? What is the use of taking opinion of an ass? This is vox populi. Taking the opinion of the public is degrading modern society. If the public is composed of drunkards, smokers, meat eaters, gambling and women hunters, then what is the value of their opinion? Why take the opinion of fourth-class man? What Krishna says, that is standard. Krishna is the supreme, and his version is final. No other opinion is allowed. When I introduced the principles no illicit sex, I didn't ask for opinions. It must be done. Our program is not vox populi. We are saying only what the authoritative scriptures say. If you actually want to do social welfare, then you must take the standard formula as given by the scriptures. That's what Prabhupada says in the room conversation. And it is very clear that he was not here to please the public. One devotee asked him in '66, Srila Prabhupada, the Americans will not like what you say about women. And Prabhupada said, but I'm not going to change the truth to please Americans. That's what he says. I'm not going to change the truth for the Americans. So we can please the world forever, but not one person will become a serious devotee then. You can water it down. Christianity is a classical example. Christianity is Jesus West. That's what it is. They accepted from the Roman world, you can read it in Encyclopedia Britannica, they accepted the myth of the dying God. That God dies for our sins. That's from the Mitra worship. You know, they accepted so many. The Last Supper is Mitraic. It comes from there. The whole idea where salvation comes from is coming from pagan worship. Why did they do this? Because Paul says, to the Romans I'm a Roman and to the Greek I'm a Greek. Well, that's what we try to be. To the Americans we try to be Americans, and to the Indians we try to be Indians. That's not honest. That's not consistent, you know. We just let's depend on Krishna. That will be successful. It may not be successful right now, but in the long run, you know, it will, because people have no alternative to our philosophy. There's no alternative. We have something, we have Krishna's thumb up for our preaching. It is his movement. Lord Chaitanya appeared. What do we have to be afraid of? What are we worried about? You just have to take that and pass on. And it will be successful 100%. Not because of you or me, it's because of Pritiviti Atsiyati Nagaradi Grama. And because it says as a nature of Kali people are intelligent, they will it's in Bhagavatam since 5,000 years. You can't, there's nothing you can do about it. It's going to happen. So why try to please the public? That's what the Christian churches have been done since 2,000 years, adjusting to the public. And there is a saying I saw on the internet, that religion that marries the spirit of the day will be a widow tomorrow. There you have it. That religion who marries the spirit of the day, there will be a widow tomorrow. And again they will be changing, adjusting. So this is totally unauthorized. And it is not what Prabhupada wanted. You can, if you want to do this, you throw Prabhupada out of the movement. Practically speaking. You may say, Prabhupada, we love you, but you don't like what he says. That's the point. That means you praise Prabhupada with your lips, but your heart is far away from him. That's easy. Lip service, anybody can pray. Oh, it's Prabhupada. Judas, he kissed Jesus on the cheek, and then he betrayed him. That was lip service. That's a classic example of lip service. So, I was there when Prabhupada left the body. And on his last day, second last day, I forgot. I was sitting right beside the bed, Bhakti True Swami was on the other, I think we were only two people in the room. Prabhupada wanted medicine. Bhakti True Swami got Prabhupada medicine. And Prabhupada asked, although he was so weak, he asked, and did you close the bottle? And he said, no, Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, that is your disease. He said, all of you. He said, you know how to open bottles, but you don't know how to close them. You start so many new things. but you don't see the consequences. You know how to live, but you don't know how to die. And that's the Western mentality, always changing, always new. Prabhupada said there's nothing new under the sun. The sun is old, the moon is old, and Krishna consciousness is old. And when Prabhupada saw, I saw, it told me that he was flying with Srila Prabhupada in a plane. And all of a sudden he heard Prabhupada laughing, and he looked what Prabhupada was laughing at. There was a Charlie Chaplin film. And Prabhupada saw the whole film, and then he said, we should learn from Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin was dancing in a tuxedo with tails, you know. And he was just one among many. And then he sat down, somebody had just painted a wall, he sat down. And when he tried to get up, his coat glued to the seat. And so he got up and ripped the tails off. And so he danced. And all of a sudden, all the attraction went to him. And because he saw everybody was looking at him, he started dancing and dancing, and all the other men became envious. So they ripped off their clothes. And everybody in the end danced. And Prabhupada said, that's the example right there. This is how we should preach. He said, he gives us, this is a clue, how you preach. Don't budge an inch of our siddhānta. Don't budge an inch on the way how Prabhupada is given. Not 1 inch. You know, I mean, one time I remember I was dancing on a convent street with a bunch of devotees. And then I gave a little lecture. And then one nun came. She was in her nun, she was a nun, traditionally, it was 30 years ago. And she said, I have a question. He said, she said, why don't you go back to India, the way you dress? And I said, why don't you go back to Israel, the way you dress? Because it was a Middle East outfit that she was wearing right from the time when it came to the West. It is a Middle East, it is not Western. And then everybody laughed and understood the point. So they didn't change their habit. Only recently, and that doesn't increase their membership. Manut, the biggest priest seminar in Ireland, is empty. With all the changes and all pleasing the public left and right, it's empty. If you want to do something for the world, well, you should change up, be serious about your spiritual life, and do something practical. Do something practical for Prabhupada. This is not practical. This is not practical. The Dalai Lama is preaching, he doesn't change his robe. And everybody loves him because he has nothing to say. He doesn't change people's life. He said, you do whatever you like. Thousands of people follow him. If he wear the robe or not, wouldn't make a difference. People follow him because they like the message. They don't like our message. As soon as you talk about the 4 regular principles, that's it. By the time you reach no sex life also, you lost 99% of humanity. They don't want to hear that. So that's the point. You know, that the world this is not a great place, and people don't want to hear the truth. And it doesn't matter how you dress. There's one person who wants to hear it, and no matter how you dress, he will take it. So why changing the dress? Prabhupada has not authorized it. He came like this. His godbrothers told him, you come in a suit. In fact, Swami Bon came in a suit, and he couldn't do anything. And Prabhupada came in his traditional robes. Thousands of people followed him. And nobody said, why are you wearing these clothes? Nobody asked this question. It was accepted. And so we may be the new kid on the block in the Western world. But I mean, a couple of generations down, people don't even ask this question why we dress like that. Because they know us from childhood not to dress like that. And if we stop dressing, people say, what happened to the Hare Krishna movement? Where are they? The devotee sticks out, you know, because he dresses in a particular way. So many people in our movement have tried to redefine Srila Prabhupada's teaching according to the modern paradigm. None of these efforts will be successful. Because Prabhupada, he was just following Krishna's program and was widely successful. Even Beatles became attractive, not because we wear this dress. It didn't make a difference. They became attracted to the message. And we have Bhagavad Gita, we have Krishna, we have all the saints and sages, Vyasadeva, everyone on our side. We have nothing to gain whatsoever from the external world. But we have a lot to lose. That's my opinion. So another thing is that, interesting enough, in this letter, Prabhupada tells Kirtananda, you can go to London and to test your method. So if somebody wants to do something like this, another outreach in terms of Krishna consciousness, I mean, let them do it. But outside of ISKCON, not that to make devotees takes gallons of blood, not their blood, our blood. You know, we work like dogs to make devotees, not that somebody comes in there and feasts on them. They should create their own following outside of ISKCON and do something. And let's put it to the test, like Prabhupada said. They find out it doesn't work. You work, you know, if there's Guru Nishta is there, that works. That we know. If you follow in the footsteps of the Acharyas, that works. Bhakti-siddhanta's leading men always are devotees and gurus. And if somebody says, I heard recently, somebody said, well, the devotees comes from the Ramakrishna mission. I mean, the person obviously never set his foot into a South Indian temple where people walk around in devotees since centuries, if not millenniums. You know, so why touring our temples and bewildering devotees and let people do the hard work and start their own movement? This is the idea. And then it can be maybe even complementary to what we do. But not at the expense of ISKCON, outside of ISKCON.